Now, this wasn't a rigorous study and there are definitely other factors to be taken into consideration, but 3 to 4 times longer and stronger boners definitely isn't something to complain about. I'm David Rams, welcome back to another 5 Minute Friday. Christmas is coming up fast and I've just stocked up the David Rams store with some new ethical designs and cool t-shirts in some new colours that I'm sure you're going to love. This is one of the new ones. The website's davidrams.com. Check the link in the description to pick one up today, and remember, you're really helping me out when you do that. We've got some really interesting stuff to get through today, so let's jump in with the first story. Sex. Vegans apparently have a much better sex life than meat eaters. A dating website ran a highly scientific and definitely completely 100% accurate study. They found that vegans are just better at sex. 57% of vegans reported having sex 4 times a week compared to meat eaters who reported to do it only 2 times a week. But to be fair, that's probably just because vegans are so happy to meet another vegan. One of the most common complaints in vegan groups is how difficult it is to meet another vegan, specifically a vegan partner. So it's no surprise that when they do get a vegan partner, they're gonna go at it 4 times a week or more. Just 35% of meat eaters describe themselves as givers compared to 58% of vegans. 84% of vegans are satisfied with their sex lives compared to a mere 59% of meat eaters. Vegans are just selfless lovers, it seems. Or maybe I'm just being cocky. Loads of people are going to be putting this down to the plant-based diet, and yes, of course, our diets do have a massive impact on our physical performance and our energy and physical performance. But I have a different theory. Vegans are vegan because we give a shit about the animals. We have empathy. We give a shit about animals that more often than not offer us absolutely nothing in return, and we don't actually ask for anything in return. We do it because we want to make them happy. We want to do what is right. We empathize with them. So is it really a surprise that vegans have more empathy and tend to be more likely to be givers in the bedroom? And isn't empathy a key part of what makes sex good? 92% of vegans describe their love lives as great, and 58% always have energy for sex. With meat eaters, those figures were just 79% and 35%. As I said earlier, that could most likely be just down to the fact that they found another vegan to have sex with them, because most people say it's pretty hard. No pun intended. About the energy though, when people go vegan, they tend to start paying a lot more attention to their diet and their nutrition, which can lead to them eating a much more balanced and proper diet, leading to much more energy for the activities that you're up for, or getting it up for. Okay, that's enough puns for one video. 2/3 are prepared to experiment in the bedroom, yet more than half of meat eaters admit that they are chicken when it comes to throwing off the shackles. That pun wasn't okay. As vegans, we reject a load of society's bullshit telling us how to think and how to eat. It's hardly shocking that we also reject the society norms of what should or shouldn't happen in the bedroom. The spokeswoman for this website said that vegans are masters of seduction, it would appear. Our statistics don't lie, and vegans eat foods known for their aphrodisiac qualities, such as ginseng and aniseed. Hey, I won't argue that we're masters of seduction, but I don't think I've ever eaten ginseng or aniseed in my life. The article goes on to talk about that study in the Game Changers. They did a kind of experiment with a urologist where the idea was to measure the duration, strength, and frequency of the boners of 3 male athletes after eating different meals. On the first night, the 3 guys were given burritos containing cow flesh, chicken flesh, and pig flesh. And on the second night, they were given burritos again, but this time it was with plant-based protein. They monitored the men during their sleep on both nights to monitor the sexual activity, the amount of boners they had, the length of the duration of those boners, and the strength of those boners. And what they found was, in the night after the meat-free meal, the guys had a longer duration of boners, more frequency of boners, and stronger boners than the previous night where they had just eaten the animal flesh meals. Now, this wasn't a rigorous study, and there are definitely other factors to be taken into consideration, but 3 to 4 times longer and stronger boners definitely isn't something to complain about, so long as you aren't in any kind of awkward place anyway. I'm sure all the guys watching know exactly what I'm talking about. Roners plague the teenage years of men. I'm almost scared to ask this question because I don't know how crazy you're going to get in the comments. But do you agree with this study? Do you agree with all of these facts? Are you a satisfied, giving vegan having great sex? Or are you someone who's struggling to get it going with a non-vegan partner? Get in the comments and tell us all about it. The vegan media has been raving about Ariana Grande this week because she opened up a new dog and cat sanctuary over in the USA, which is awesome, but I'm a bit reluctant to join in all the vegan celebrations. Celebrities, it shouldn't be hailed as saviors of the animals because they do 1 or 2 good things for the animals. And we keep making the same mistake over and over again. Did we forget about the Miley Cyrus, Joe Rogan shit show already?
was vegan for a very long time, and I've had to introduce fish and omegas into my life because my brain wasn't functioning properly.
Miley Cyrus was way more convincing in her veganism and her work for animals than Ariana Grande. And look what happened there. Come on, last year, Ariana Grande was promoting a non-vegan drink for Starbucks, a drink that contained eggs. The fact that chickens are enslaved and abused for eggs is reason enough not to consume something like that, but I will never understand how in the anyone would want to drink something that has eggs blended into it anyway. Ariana is doing something good for dogs and cats, but that's hardly breaking news, is it? I say we save the breaking news headline stories for people who are actually consistently anti-animal abuse. And I feel like I've said this a million times, but we need to stop giving so much attention to these plant-based celebrities with loose morals. Or if we are going to give them attention, we should be giving them attention that is critical and not just celebrating every small decision they make about the animals. Because I promise you this, it's going to come back to bite us in the ass when they go on the Joe Rogan show and shit all over the animals and veganism. Piers Morgan is back! He's been arguing with his co-host Susanna Reid about, you guessed it, veganism. This time it was vegan burgers, with him calling it ridiculous that vegans call them burgers and saying stupid shit like,
why do vegans want to use our language?
Our language? Are meat eaters their own people now with their own language? What a f***ing lemon. His co-host Susanna snapped back with a similar response saying, what do you mean? Our language. Are we allowed to use the word food, or is that your language? Then she went on to embarrass him in front of millions of people by reading the definition of burger, which is, a burger is made of meat or other food made into a round, fairly fast shape, fried and usually eaten between two halves of a bread roll. And she finished by telling him, I think you've just been comprehensively dismissed. Once again, Piers Morgan embarrasses himself, and once again, he brings up the topic of veganism to millions of people. Thanks, Piers! The food giant Tyson has just announced it's expanding its chicken slaughter business. They're expanding their business in China, Thailand, and the Netherlands, and they're going to be expanding their abuse and the killing of chickens to produce an extra 100,000 tons of cooked chicken flesh. Stop and think about what that means for a second. 100,000 tons is the equivalent of 14,000 African elephants, or around 2,000 Boeing 737 airplanes. But hey, at least they've joined the Global Coalition for Animal Welfare, right? It turns out they've just joined the GCAW, the Global Coalition for Animal Welfare. And this Global Coalition for Animal Welfare boasts that they're doing an industry-led approach to animal welfare. Yep, the industries that profit from the manipulation, abuse, and killing of defenseless animals are claiming they're going to improve the welfare of those same animals with an industry-led approach. That's like a serial killer telling you not to worry because they're going to be nice to their next victims. What a joke. The world's first lab meat restaurant has opened up in Israel. I'm not going to promote this restaurant because they are serving animal products still, like dairy products, as well as this cultured lab meat. But I want to know, do you think lab meat is ethical? They cultured lab meat using chicken cells that were taken from a live chicken, but there's no necessity to kill that live chicken, although the chicken is technically still being exploited. But considering what we just talked about in the last story, is this the lesser of two evils? Personally, I think there are plenty of plant-based alternatives to animal flesh, and I don't really see this as being necessary. I think we need a behavior shift away from this obsession with animal flesh altogether. But do you think lab meat could be a good intermediary solution for people who haven't made that shift yet? Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you join me for this Sunday's live stream. I want to get your opinions on these topics and much, much more. And before you go checking out one of these two videos, hit that like button and leave me a comment to let me know what you think of this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on Sunday.